If I could go back to my teenage self, my 18-year-old, 15-year-old self, the number one thing that I would be telling him is to be as ambitious as humanly possible. And no, I don't just mean with school and grades. What I mean is being ambitious with every aspect of your life. Pursuing your interests, your craziest ideas with reckless enthusiasm. To play sports until your muscles are dead. To build the health foundation. To invest in relationships. To be ambitious with all of it. I know that it's extreme and that it sounds like a lot. Because if you're super far away from that person, then I don't want you to get overwhelmed. All I want you to do in this video is just listen and let me explain the small, doable actions that you can take to get to that person. And also break down what I did to be ambitious in all of those ways. How I was not just a good grades guy, but how I did a TEDx talk when I was 16. How I helped run a $30,000 Model UN conference for 500 plus students. How I played cricket for my university team. How I won a gold medal for the genetic engineering project representing our university in 2021. And even how I got into medical school through this highly competitive transfer program. By the way, I was the only international student that got out of hundreds. And now how I've created over 100 videos on this YouTube channel with over 40,000 subscribers as of now. When you look back, it's absolutely insane, and I think it's very little to do with me, more so to do with God, with my parents, with my upbringing, with my privilege and my luck. But the small amount that is to do with me, I attribute all of it to having an ambitious mindset with everything in life. First things first, this is something that you need to internalize before anything else. Do not get clogged down with the minimums of school. Attending class, doing homeworks, studying for exams, those are the minimums. Your aim, no matter, I don't care how this sounds, but you need to be doing more with your time. Yes, obviously you need to work hard in school, you need to apply to a good university, but be smart about it. You don't need to be making hundreds of pages of notes or be studying for 10 hours, 12 hours a day. Exams are the necessary evil, but there are smarter ways to learn and prepare for them. And of course, if you want to actively improve the skill of studying smart, I've made an absolutely free newsletter called Study Scoop. It is completely free. Just enter your email address in the link below and I will regularly send out actionable study tips that you can use to incorporate right into your study routine and how you work on the daily. There's also a lot of very detailed methods and really high value videos on my channel. I'll link up a few playlists in the description or somewhere here. I just think that's a very important caveat to give because learning to study smart means that you will spend less time achieving more. And even if this skill takes time, that's fine. You shouldn't be waiting to do more. To pursue your interests and just try the big things out straight away. Because it's Parkinson's law, isn't it? The work expands to fill the time that you give it. As a side note, I perform my best when I'm doing both YouTube videos, when I'm doing med school, when I have exams, when everything is happening all together, I am at my best. And that just goes to show that you have the ability to do better at everything if you do more, especially at the start when you're in school. Now, the average person doesn't really know where to start with pursuing more. How do I develop skills? What are my interests? What are my passions? What is my career? How do I know what to do? What is pursuing more? Listen, those are impossible questions to get straight away. And if you're waiting for some big sign to tell you what to do in life, then trust me, you're gonna be waiting for a long time. Instead, just start building. Start walking in a direction and saying yes to the things that even spark the slightest bit of interest, that seem like even the slightest bit that give you the feeling of, oh, this might be fun, this might be interesting. I know this all sounds motivational, but a lot of us, especially when we're at these ages, these teenage ages, we have this like fear of what people will think, and we need to be forgetting the fear and just have the courage to start. I started going to huge Model UN conferences when I was just 14, just because my friends were going. And I kept doing it for years. I was debating for ages, and then I eventually got onto chairing committees with hundreds of students. And my reasoning at the time was, oh, it might look cool on my CV, fine. But mainly it was the fact that I got to take 3 to 5 days away from school. We all got to wear suits, meet all these cool new people, and then we were debating and beating people was fun. That was my logic. It was so random in the grand scheme of things, but doing that led me to have the confidence to then speak at my TEDx youth event at 16 to help run an MUN conference that we were doing at our school, raising $30,000 for 500 plus students. And all of that public speaking, that confidence gave me this unfair advantage of being able to communicate ideas eloquently, storytell, share my systems in a smart way, which has now led me to doing this educational content creation business on top of medical school. The flywheel effect of things is absolutely insane, but at the time I had no idea. It was the slow development of so many different skills skills from doing clubs, events, being a tryhard with all of my projects and assignments that now led me, that compiled up. And it all compounded into me now having this attitude of everything is doable, I can start what I want, and I can keep going and excelling at it, and it doesn't matter if I screw up. So honestly, I lied. These aren't gonna be small steps. Your first actionable step is to do one big thing. Start even this week. I know you have something in your head. And if you don't, fine, pick something that your school is doing or that your community is doing that sounds remotely interesting that you can contribute to. Join a club, join an event, even if you don't know anyone there. But that being said, what I think here is more important is to make your own opportunities. If you have nothing in your head, if you have nothing in front of you, then ask yourself, what can I organize tomorrow that would make me excited to go? Go and start the school club that no one cares about except you. Head the club. If you like photography, then set up a big exhibition of all of your photographs in a cool venue. Or if you like tech, then email a bunch of local stores and companies and rent out their gadgets and then hold a workshop trying them all out. I can think of so many examples that you can be doing to excelling and pursuing more. But my point is just to aim to be bigger than normal. The second action step for this part, for creating your own path and building, I wasn't originally going to include this in the video, but the second action step would be to think about creating multiple or different income streams separate from your job. It's not about the money or having the house or all the material possessions, although the financial security and having that freedom is a big deal, but I don't think that's what people that are 13 to 18 should actually be thinking about. It's more so about the skills you develop and the person you become when you learn the basic skills of design, of selling, of creating products. An example for both of these action steps actually is that I had to take a gap year before medical school. And in that gap year, I tried to do a lot of things. I worked in different hospitals, I tutored students, I did economics courses and CSS courses. I even tried to write a book at some point, and eventually I then went to learning how to code, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And by the way, this was me just at the age of 20. COVID was happening, so I was just trying new things. But then more importantly, this was the point where I realized that, okay, I want to make money separate from medicine as well. And so I created a bunch of websites. I thought I'd create content. A lot of them were like blogs and stuff, which flopped until I got to an educational website called Unlock IB, which was specifically for IB students and how to really do well in the IB diploma. It did reasonably well at the time. It was getting 20,000, 30,000 views a month. And I really enjoyed writing the articles and the process of coming up with my methods. The website itself is currently down, but that was my first taste of content creation. And eventually, that led me to making these videos. Starting YouTube has been one of the best decisions of my life. And if you even have an inkling of wanting to do this, if it's something even in your head, I would really suggest trying it out. It's just absolutely insane how fun this entrepreneurship thing is and how much it pays off. Especially when you do it alongside your degree, your job. It's like you're living two separate lives. I don't know what it exactly is, but you're just kind of separated from both of them. And there's something very fulfilling about it. It's also probably something to do with the fact that no one else is really doing this, so it gives you a bit of a personal fulfillment thing. The fact that I find both so fulfilling in their own rights is probably why I've stuck with YouTube for 3 years now. My overall point is that you should be thinking about these other streams of income that will help you in the future regardless, in terms of your skills, your character, your everything. It's to do more than just the studying, and eventually you'll realize that you don't have to have everything figured out to start to do big things. The goal isn't to find your life's passion on day one, but it's to open yourself up to new experiences. The little steps that can lead to big transformations. Part 2, invest in relationships within your family, your friends, and with everyone that is on the same wavelength, that is like-minded. This isn't talked about much by guys or by educational creators or on YouTube in general, but I think it is one of the most life-changing things that you can be ambitious about. Because you can't do it all alone. Isolating yourself, going monk mode, like going in the dark and working on your life, it's stupid. We're human. We need interaction. In moderation, it's going to help us be a better person. So let's establish this is not just about the interactions you're having day to day. That's just the bare minimum. What I want you to ask yourself is that if I were to be ambitious with all of my relationships, what would I be doing? What would I change? What would I be doing more of with the people I love? Because of course, they're your support system. You rely on them when you need a break, but they rely on you too. The real switch that I think is super valuable is now you thinking, how can I help them? How can I be there to make the life of my loved ones and my close friends easier? I was gonna give examples from my life, but I feel like that's kind of show-offy and wrong. But the important part, the real mindset switch that changes the way you think, is that you are in service for your loved ones and your community. Get out of this me, it's just me, what's happening in my routine, what am I doing in my day type of bubble. Because once you do that, it's the best. You stop thinking of yourself as one, and you stop thinking that the world revolves around you, and you gain perspective. You realize that everything that you're doing, everything that you're building is to make the people around you, the community, your family, everyone around you happier as well. So the actionable step here, and I don't think this will be life-changing or anything, but it is gonna help regardless. Look for one way that you can help one person, that you can support that one person this week. Maybe your friend is super stressed about their exam or how they are working, etc. So you just take them to a coffee shop, invite them to your place, have them and do a study session with them, talk about your learning methods, talk about how you're preparing for the exam. Just help put them at ease, make them laugh. Maybe your mom is super busy and not making time for herself or something, so just do a fun activity with her. Point is, what can you do to make their day, someone else's day, easier? And then just start doing different things for different people, and obviously do it all with no expectations. Thinking like this, instead of just like, oh, what am I doing in my day? I'm stressed about my thing. Thinking like this and switching. That is where real growth happens. Not just in your relationships, but in who you are, your character. I think this is something that no one really talks about, especially in Western culture. It's so far away from Western culture where everyone is just living separately and doing their own different things. But creating community, creating togetherness, investing in your relationships as much as possible, that aspect needs to be brought back into the conversation, into our lives. Become someone who adds value to the lives of the people around you, and it will always come back to you in a positive way. Part 3, lay the health foundation. The amount you can work in the day, the amount you excel, the amount of energy you have is directly tied to the amount you sleep, the way you eat, and the way you move. The fundamentals of our day fuel our ambition for everything else. It's not just, oh, I need to get in shape, because that's thinking of it like a side pursuit. And honestly, that's the mistake that I made for 10 plus years. Oh, I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to be healthy or like come home and eat a good meal. All of these excuses. Just because I was scared of wasting my precious time. Like, how stupid is that? You eat healthy, you sleep well, you move, you go gym, you feel good. So obviously your energy, your focus, and your ability to do good work, your resilience will go higher compared to you just eating crap and sitting on the chair the whole day. If I'm being honest, this is the one thing I'd really go to my younger self and have a long conversation about, because the rest of the stuff I was doing anyways. And yes, it would have helped, but this would have impacted me the most. I've been up and down with these habits for so long, and I think everyone at some level is. Only recently have I consistently started waking up at 7 to 8 a.m. Consistently eating well. So I've started gym every day, and I can see the difference in how energetic I am and how much energy I have and how much more work I get done. But what's different this time around is that this time I've actively, because I made that guide on how to enjoy studying, and because I read a lot about how to find the fun and how finding the fulfillment and the enjoyment and things, I actively this time was like, you know what, I'm gonna find a way to make these habits enjoyable and make them fulfilling somehow. So that's your actionable step. Figure out how to make one habit that improves your health fun. Finding the enjoyment, finding the fulfillment, finding the fun in your habit is the only way that you can maintain it long term. And the two factors that I think contribute most to the fun, for me at least. And when I say fun, I don't just mean like fun, dopamine scrolling activity like movie watching, eating food, like none of that. Fun, I mean enjoyment and fulfillment from doing something good. And in this case, finding the fun in something, I think involves two things. One, the autonomy, making it your own thing, your own process. And number two, achievement, tracking the progress and feeling good and during it. So the question is, where in your routine will it feel, for example, the best to go to the gym? Is it with a specific person? Is it a specific workout? Is it a specific place? Or would you prefer playing sports or going for a run? What meals are enjoyable? What can you look forward to when you wake up at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m.? For me, I don't know if this is gonna help. I'm still in the process of doing this, but I still wanted to give this advice because I think it's, regardless, is useful. My morning these days, I'm waking up early, I'm praying, I'm getting like half an hour of work done. I'm having this like nice chocolate smoothie, and then I'm going to a protein shake, and then I'm going to the gym. It's a nice simple combination of stuff, and it's pretty enjoyable these days, except for the days that I'm going to placement, which I have to kind of still figure out, but we start somewhere. Regardless, health is the foundation. If you can invest time educating yourself, learning more about it, building your own discipline and habits in smart ways, and making it all more enjoyable, I think that would be very, very beneficial. Anyways, for the final part of this video, I wanted to get more perspectives on this question, because this again is just my life experience. So I asked around 10 people randomly on my WhatsApp, the very wide variance of people. I asked them the question, if you were to go back and speak to your 13 to 18-year-old self, what advice would you give them? And I'm gonna read out what they say verbatim and maybe just like comment on it. And this is what they said verbatim. Baba said, work hard, play hard. Classic. I asked him, oh, would you change anything as well? He said, nope, I do it all the same. Mama, to be more confident in yourself and not think. Yeah, Self-confidence is one of the biggest things, and I think that's one of the big things that my parents probably instilled in me. Abdullah, my younger brother, he said, I'd probably tell myself to take on less pressure, but then I also can't get stuff done without pressure, so who knows. The thing with getting stuff done is that, and I told this to him as well, I think it's easier when you're pulled into the work compared to pushed in, if that makes sense. It's easier if something grabs your attention and you want to kind of do it, or there's something exciting about it. Again, it's all about finding the enjoyment side of it, the fun side of it, that then pulls you in. You want to do, I know there's things in your life, there are hobbies, or there's certain things that you want to do. And invariably, that's going to be something that you're doing way more easily compared to your homework and things that you kind of have to push yourself. So always ask the question of how can I make this more fun and pull myself in rather than push. That framing always helps. Then we have Daniel, my boy. He's a famous Pakistani singer these days. He says, start making music earlier, start posting yourself online earlier, don't care what other people think. That's the biggest thing. I was the only guy who was singing, so it felt weird. So whatever passion you have, start doing it early. I agree, 100%. It felt crazy cringe to make YouTube videos online talking about like how to study and giving people my own, like my methods. Who am I to give wisdom about life to all these people? But the more you do it, the more you realize if you've done anything in life, if you've done some sort of accomplishment, if you've built yourself up to a credible person in any way, you will have something to teach younger people. And that's something I constantly think about when I'm filming these videos. I constantly try and have a conversation with just one person and think, I am in service to that one person, to helping that one individual become better, do better, and I know that I can help them. And that usually alleviates any pressure I have when it comes to making content. Then he also sent me a second voice note saying, try less to become more popular or have more friends or be a people pleaser at school. Focus on doing what's right for your loved ones and to be there more for your family in comparison. Actually be there when you're needed. And I don't think this is again talked about as much at all online on YouTube or anything. Because again, it's tough to actually at that age, at this age of 13 to 15 to 18 to even like in your 20s, to differentiate between when you're needed, when you want to be with your family, when you spend time with your friends. It's difficult to balance this. But I'm repeating myself, but I would like to go back to the idea that I am in service to my family, to my friends, to my loved ones. What can I do to improve their day, to make their day better? Am I doing that? Or am I just pursuing some other sort of selfish interest in this thing? What is one thing that you can do that makes their day better? Next, we have my friend Zara, second-year medical student. She says, have friends who push you academically, but don't fall in the trap of obsessively comparing your achievements to others. It's a common issue, and it's very difficult to actually avoid, to be honest, I think. But this is a good reminder. From what I remember, I haven't really had this issue of comparison when it comes to academics. I've always just fueled myself. If I got like a lower grade compared to someone else, I just use that as motivation. But I do know that this is an issue that a lot of people have, and it really is, especially in medical school. I think what helps me in medical school is that I'm playing a very different game from everyone else. I'm not optimizing for the best of the best distinction, 100% grades anymore. Like, that doesn't matter to me. I want to get past it. I want to become a good doctor. I want to do very well, and I want to have good expertise in what I want to do. I want to grow this business. I want to take it to the highest levels. And my goals have just matured a lot more than just the grades, I think. But in school, that wasn't the case. I was very much a grades, uni, CV, like what can I do to build myself to be the best possible type person. I have a lot of advice for this, and giving advice for this will be a whole other video. I think it'll take too long. Let me move on. It's a good reminder regardless. Minahil, my school friend, she says the only validation you need is your own. Yeah, I think we chase validation, don't we? It's human nature. It's tough to internalize it because chasing validation, wanting to be accepted, is how we work. And I have this view that chasing validation to a certain extent is a good thing if you can frame it in a way of I am wanting to learn from the other person and improve myself, and I want to actually ask them questions and show them, am I doing the right thing? You know what I mean? Getting feedback is good chasing validation. It's bad when your self-worth is tied to it. So detaching that, again, that's a whole other topic that we could discuss. Next, we have Akshay, close friend of mine. He's a big banker in Canada who's doing super well in his field, extremely successful. He said, meditate earlier in life. I agree. You know what? I agree. Mindfulness is one of the biggest advantages you can create within yourself as a human, to deal with any situation, to deal with any emotion, to deal with your life in general. It's something that I used to do a lot of. In fact, like one of the very first videos on my channel that I was super proud of, because I spent like 3-4 days editing this video. It was about like how I meditated for 100 days, or was it a whole year? I don't remember. But I did meditate for a long time, and I slowly, gradually just stopped doing it. And I tell myself that yes, I pray 5 times a day. That's a good enough way to be mindful. But praying honestly serves a different purpose. It's worship. It grounds you, it brings you back to your faith and brings you closer to the religion. So I do think that meditation has its own place and has its own right in being a very helpful practice that you do in the day. Actually, I think it would really help if I even got back into a regular meditation habit or a practice, because I find myself really overwhelmed a lot of the time because I'm balancing so much these days. I messaged my brother, one of the closest people to me as well, Parth. He's becoming a big actor in LA these days. He says, don't forget you're gonna die. So if you want to leave a mark, do it now. Don't be mediocre. Well said. 100%. Internalize it. You're only on this spinning rock for a second. Don't blink. And what I'm going to do is we're going to end it with the advice that my aunt gave. She's a highly accomplished human, a doctor here in the UK who sent a super nice, wholesome list of advices. I'll put them all up, but the one I resonated with most was think early on how you want to have an impact. A big impact. Before life takes over, and then keep chipping away at it. Honestly, this is why I pushed so hard in this video to be ambitious in every aspect of your life so early on. Because life does get busy. Responsibilities get in the way, your education does, your job does, your family does. And you end up having less time, and it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. But I think it would be much better if you started now, started way earlier. To be ambitious, to aim for that big impact. You end up building your own family and you start sustaining your own community and your own life, and it's difficult to do that big impact thing then. So start now. Be ambitious, aim for that big impact. I know this is super motivational stuff and I pride myself on practical actions and tested methods and all of this sort of like evidence-based study techniques that I've practiced, but I think these mindsets, I wouldn't be anywhere if I wasn't passionate about them. Anyways, I really hope this video helped. A lot of people have emailed me from my newsletter replying back to the problems, etc. that they're having with school, with figuring out what to do with their life, etc. And I thought that this would help. I thought this would help give some direction. A bit different from all the study content that we usually make, and there's plenty more of that coming, so don't worry about that. And by the way, remember to sign up to the email newsletter below. The link below, it's completely free. I will be sending out regular emails, actionable study steps that you can now then incorporate into your learning process. I'll be sending out advice like this as well, and I'll be talking a bit more about my life. I'll be talking a bit more about how you can improve your own methods, your own systems, your routines, etc. Oh, and I wanted to do this thing that a lot of people do on Instagram, like Gary Vee's channel does it, and a lot of other different Instagram accounts do it. So in the comments below, 13 to 18-year-old people that are watching, click and comment like whatever, any issues that you have or any problems that you have or any advice that you need about life, and all the 18 to 25 and above 30-year-old people, help them down below. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, spam the comments, and I will see you in the next one.